It's 7 o'clock on a Tuesday night, and where else would I be but here with you? DJ Stutz here with Little Hearts Academy USA, and I'm the host of Imperfect Heroes podcast. And it's a podcast I hope you're listening to. We've gotten more and more listeners as we go along, and I hope you join that club. Anyway, before I get started on today's topic, there's so many things that are going on right now, and it's so exciting to see things grow and blossom and oh gosh, and I hit the cord, sorry about that. And grow and blossom and expand, and so we've got some really fun and exciting things coming up. So I've actually collaborated with a group called Council Academy, and this is a group back east, and they do classes and workshops for teens, tweens, and even up through college age. And so they started talking to me and asked if I would be able to do a babysitting class for kids. And I said I would love to do that. And so we're going to have that babysitting class in December. And so I want you to watch for it. I'm going to be posting some things on it, and you'll get a certification at the end. It'll be 4 nights in a row. And we're going to be talking about what to expect for different ages of kids. So infants, toddlers, preschoolers, and elementary aged kids. We're going to talk about safety, some basic first aid. We're also going to talk about what might happen if like the power goes out, or if all of a sudden you see a bunch of cop cars going down the street, right? And what if there's a big storm that comes in and you're with the kids and they're scared? What can you do then? We're also going to be talking about how to build your business, and we're going to talk about it as a business. This is a great opportunity for young people to learn about entrepreneurship and to learn about managing money and marketing and how to make business decisions, right? It's kind of like a little more grown-up version of the lemonade stand. So we're going to talk about it as a business and how and what are the safe ways to get new jobs, new clients, and then how do you get repeat business? What are some of the things that you can do to get repeat business? And all of that is just going to be so much fun for 4 nights. And then at the end, we have a short little quiz, and when you pass that, you get to be certified. So that's going to be coming up. I hope that you'll keep looking and watching, and I'll have stuff on that on my Instagram, on my TikTok, on Facebook, of course, on both Little Hearts Academy and this one, Imperfect Heroes. So we'll be moving forward with that. Then on November 7th, we're going to start our next challenge. This time, because we're getting closer to the holidays and stuff, we're just doing a 5-day challenge. And this one is on living in gratitude. So I've already got some people that are signing up for it. You can just go to www.littleheartsacademyusa.com and you can register for it there. We have a Facebook group that you can sign up for, and then we'll be doing all of the lives through that Facebook group, and so you'll want to get in on that. But it's going to be fun. It's things for you, things for the family, things to have the kids involved in finding gratitude. We're also going to be talking about how we show gratitude, and there will be some challenges around how we show our gratitude as well. So it's going to be a fun thing. And then after that, so that'll be November 7th through 11. And then for 10 days after that is all, excuse me, we will have our Sister Home Society, our group coaching that will be open. And I only open it 3 times a year. And so if you want to get in on this, and so it's really only $37 a month, which is very, very low. But if you go through the challenge, then at the end of the challenge, I have a coupon code, and you'll get $10 off for your first month. So really cheap. I mean, and isn't it worth that investment to get in and to get some new ideas and to share ideas, to make other connections with other families that are trying to be the best parents that they can be. And I know that you already are the best parents that you know how to be. We want to expand on your knowledge and experience and opportunities, because all of those things help us to become stronger and better. So there you are. All right. Today's topic is how to get our children. Actually, we talked mostly about reading, but this expands really to anything that you want to teach your kids, and honestly at any age. So Dr. Danny Brassell, oh my gosh, he's so funny. He's been called Jim Carrey with the Ph.D. He's so fun. Anyway, he was talking to us, with me, and we were talking about how to get our kids interested in reading, and some of the kids that have problems with reading, and he just has such funny stories and such great ideas. But he really comes down to, if they're not interested, they're not going to read. And I have found that to be the case, absolutely. So kids who, in kindergarten when I was teaching, who didn't want to get into a book or get involved in, it was just, they were done. They didn't want it. But if I found the right book on the right topic, all of a sudden they wanted to read. Or if we were out talking about something that they loved, whether it was the Broncos or the Rockies. Oh, for me, the Dodgers, yay, they're playing tonight. But if you found something that they loved, dinosaurs is a big one for boys and girls, and in these younger ages. And it's funny that they couldn't show me. I had one little girl, she couldn't show me her name, which was a 3-letter name. But she could show me an Allosaurus, and she would point to the word Allosaurus. And so because she was more interested in that, which is kind of odd. Usually your name is the first thing you want to learn, but that's where her head was. And so that's what she loved. And so it's interesting that when you think about things like that, and they're just little one-word things when they're little and tiny, they're going to recognize their name, usually the first thing. And because that's the most important, right? Of all of the words in the world, to them, the most important word is their name. And so you could have their name written in different fonts and in different sizes, and have it in different locations around the house or inside their favorite book or whatever, and ask them, do you see your name? Let's find your name, and make it a fun walking around thing. They love doing that. Even when they're like 2 and 3 years old, they can recognize their name, most generally. And even kids who struggle with reading, they will want to know their name. And so he talked about there were times when he had kids that were, 4th grade, and they said, this kid doesn't read. And he said, give me 20 minutes, I'll have him reading. And it actually just took him 5. Because he found the right topic. And so you listen to the kids, you listen to your kids, and see if cars is their thing, if it's princesses, and they can learn. I mean, they will recognize Cinderella and Aurora and or Snow White or I guess that's Sleeping Beauty, but all of those, Rapunzel, they will recognize those names if that's what they're interested in. And so then you can start doing some sound associations and all of that you need to. But when they can recognize things by the letters. So one of the things that you could do, and we don't talk about this on the podcast, which is why you want to catch the lives, is you can have, let's say it's princesses. So you can have the name of different princesses and on a little card, and then their picture, and then you get them to match the name to the picture. And then we're like, oh, wow, you did it, right? And they're so proud. But if that's something they're interested in, they will do that. They will do that at even a young age. So that's something that's really interesting. One of the things that we talked about with Dr. Brassell is how kids can get labeled, and how that can be a problem. So kids will learn to read eventually, and so we often will start in preschool trying to get them to do letter names and sound associations and all of that. And that's fine as long as we understand that it is absolutely typical that kids in these younger stages aren't going to get it. It's a matter of certain synapses. Those are the electrons that connect different parts of your brain, and that's actually how you process information. And so when certain synapses start firing off in the brain, we're able to process certain knowledge. Those synapses can also tell our bodies to do certain things, such as the onset of puberty, growth hormones. All of those things are connected to the brain firing off information to the body part saying it's time to do this, right? And so reading is part of that. And so when those synapses start firing off, then they're going to be able to start processing that a lot better. Now, are there things that we can do to help them maybe get started a little before that? Because actually the natural age for these synapses to be firing off is anywhere from 3 to 8. So if you have a kiddo that they're just not firing off until 8, are we going to tell them that they're, you're a bad reader, you aren't getting this, Then they start associating all kinds of things with, like, I'm dumb, I'm stupid, I can't read, I hate to read. Well, they hate to read because it's an embarrassment to them, right? You never put a kid on the hot seat, as it were, to read in front of people or to perform in reading if they're not ready and if they're not going to succeed at it. That's just not fair. And it really does a lot to them in their social emotional development and how they look at themselves and how they look at the world. And so we don't want that to happen. So Dr. Brassell and I, we talked a lot about some of the things that we can do to help our kids along and get them going with reading. The interesting thing, though, in that is it's the same with almost every in fact, I can't think of a subject that it isn't the same at. If your child is really interested in a science experiment, but they've heard you or whatever or other kids say, oh, science, it's so hard, they're going to believe that. But if they have a teacher or if you've gotten time with them at home and you do a little fun science experiment, they love things that ooze. If you've got vinegar and baking soda, you've got a science experiment that they're going to love. One of the things that I've done at Christmas, and I know the holidays aren't too far off, you could even do this with Halloween and pumpkins and stuff, is you just put the baking powder at the bottom and then you just pour in some of the vinegar and it'll ooze out of the mouth of your jack-o'-lanterns, and the kids are like, that's so great. And it's like, that's science. We love science, right? Was that not so much fun? And if you encourage that and get excited about science, then they will too. And then they go to school and the teacher says, it's time for science. And they're like, yay, right? And then hopefully the teacher has some fun things to do with them. We've made, in my class, we've done catapults where so now we're doing engineering and science and math, and all of those things come in that would shoot a marshmallow. How far, who can build a catapult to shoot a marshmallow over, At Christmas, I would get those clear ornaments, the round ones, the clear glass ones. All the hobby stores have them, and they're not expensive at all. And so then I put a little glitter, little holiday glitter, little food coloring down on the bottom, and then you take the tops off, and I'd put some of the baking soda in, and then you can use like a turkey baster or anything like that, and let them I would do this outside on a tarp. If you have to be inside, just make sure you've got it covered because it will get messy. But, the funnest things are messy. That's just how it works. And so if you use the baster and you put it in and the ornaments just ooze out and yay, they think that's so much fun. Or, tracking how a plant grows, watching animals and seeing what's going on. And if it's something that they are interested in, they will learn. Same thing with math. Oh, numbers, it's so hard. But if it's like, well, you get 2 M&Ms for doing this and 3 M&Ms for doing this. And if they did them both, how many are you going to get all together? That's math, right? Wow, you just add up. Like, that's fantastic. You know math, right? Or if you say, do you want this many Matchbox cars or this many Matchbox cars, and you're just showing them the numbers. And if they don't know and say, oh, geez, I can't get you anything until you can show me, and so we learn about numbers. And then once they start knowing their numbers, 1 through 5, 1 through 10, whatever, then you can say, oh, what do you want, this many or this many? And it doesn't need to be Matchbox cars. It can be this many kisses. It could be this many hugs. It could be this many stories tonight. But there's a lot of things that we can do to get our kids involved and excited about learning. Now, there are the rare kids, on my 0 episodes, all the episodes that end in 0, 10, 20, 30, 40. And I've got 60 coming up actually real soon. I have Bailey Olson, and she has, I don't know, she's got these amazing kids, and her daughter is very into worksheets. And even when she was 4, she could keep her busy all day. She would sit for hours just working on worksheets. She'd have to say, quit doing all that work and go outside and play, right? But some kids are like that. And other kids are only going to learn outside while they're playing. I know that some of my grandkids, for a while, they were going to school up in a mountain town in Nevada. And there's literally a one-room schoolhouse. And they had 2 teachers there, and one took the primary grades and one took the, not secondary, anyway, intermediate grades, that's it. And they were just learning, but it's in this mountain town, and they spent a lot of their time outside collecting pine cones and then coming up with science experiments about that, and using some of the wood that's fallen down from the forest. Yeah, there's forests in Nevada. And building, what can we build with this? And it was very, very hands-on, and these kids just thrived with that. And they were learning their math, and they were learning how to read, because they would have a story about something, that happened in the mountain, and can we recreate that? And what are the key elements of the story that we would need to have? And you can see how all of that would just blossom, but they were out doing things. And there are schools with those kinds of programs where it's very hands-on. I know that in Denver, we had some schools that X% of their day had to, learning day, not the recess, not anything. In addition to that, X% of their learning day had to be outside. If there was snow on the ground, yeah. If the snow was coming down, yeah. And I think they had a temperature thing, if it was too cold. But they spent most of their time outside. If you're in an area that you can look for those kinds of schools, maybe it's a public school that your public school has something that they can get into. It might be a charter school, might be a private school. Maybe you're going to homeschool and make sure that they have all of these opportunities to learn what they love and to be hands-on with it. I have a sister-in-law, and they have 5 kids as well. And her youngest was just struggling with some math and reading, and he was having some issues, and she was helping out in the classroom, and she loved the teacher. It wasn't anything against the teacher, but she thought, I can do this with my son. And now they had the finances available to them that for history, one year, they took a historical trip back east, and they got to see, where the Battle of Shiloh took place, where the Declaration of Independence was signed, and they got to visit some of these historical spots, and he became very interested in history. Bingo, right? Now, they did have the finances available, and some people don't. But you know what? You've got history all around your town, and we just talked about that last week, didn't we? So, I love what Dr. Brassell is bringing to us. And the stories he has are fantastic. They're fun. And he had me giggling and laughing. And he's just fantastic. He's a really sought out speaker. They have him on all kinds of subjects, actually. Because really what you bring with this translates into so much of the world around us. How exciting is that? And so I hope you listen. ImperfectHeroesPodcast.com, and I will put the link in the comments below, and we'll talk to you later. Until next week, let's find joy in parenting. Bye, guys.